Nintendo, Nintendo, Nintendo. We have meet once again. Like, this is crazy. So the people have spoken, and this is why I say Nintendo needs to do this more often with the community. So apparently Nintendo put out a poll asking people, would they rather play single player or online? And survey says 73% is saying single player and 27% is saying multiplayer. Nintendo, your online is horrific. It's garbage. It's terrible. I mean, I understand when you start out, everybody, PlayStation with PSN, it was bad back in the day, right? But at least you had basic functionality like private chat, invite people, to a party room. You can invite somebody properly to a game. You can interact with the friends list. And same thing with Xbox Live. Xbox Live started from the original OG Xbox. And then, of course, the 360 kind of personify it and make it a lot better. And then, of course, Xbox One took it to a whole nother level. And, of course, the online on the Wii U was horrible. And then now Nintendo with the Switch, and it's like, oh my God, we're taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. I think Nintendo should have just delayed the online altogether. But I smell a big update to the Switch online. I think that because they put out this poll out there, they can definitely get an accurate gauge on how people feel, because even though the online is cheaper than the competition, I mean, it's 20 bucks for a whole year, and you might thinking to yourself, oh, that's great value, I'm gonna jump on that. Well, here is the kicker. It is not worth it, because you have your friends list. All you can do is add, block, and remove. That's it. You can't even interact with your fans. You can't even interact with your friends on your friends list. Like, it's just crazy. And then the dashboard itself is boring. The online itself is boring. You don't have native chat support. You have to be using a phone app. All of that is just a monstrosity. Like, I felt like Nintendo should have just delayed the online. When Reggie put out that statement, said that they delayed the online, at first they should have delayed it again and again until they get it right. You can't just put something out there just to say, oh, we're gonna put a charge on it. It's better off for it to be free than it is for you to pay for it, because everybody knows that Nintendo makes the best single player games of all time. So of course Nintendo fans within themselves are going to say, yes, we prefer the single player over the multiplayer, because Nintendo, you really have to dig deep and understand what the fans want, understand what's going on right now. You got to keep up with the time. They're behind the curve. Miyamoto came out with one of the most stupidest statement I've ever seen in my life, saying that they're not behind as far as the online. Yes, you are way behind. You are 1,000 trillion miles behind. Like, literally right now, Nintendo is a laughing stock when it comes to online gaming. And it's like, I can't even play Smash Online right now because it's so laggy and it's just a mess trying to find matches. I mean, most of the Switch Online games is just not that great because it's a lot of lag, it's a lot of input lag. There's no proper way to, message your friends and actually have a conversation with them, natively talk to them. It's just ridiculous. And I feel like it's time for Nintendo to sit back and really think about this, because this is going to hurt them in the long run. If they don't get this online straightened out and they're charging people continuously, I'm telling you, this is going to set them back in a hole that they don't want to be in. So yes, it's cool that we're getting the Switch Lite. It's cool that we're getting this kind of mid-refresh in August. It's cool that they're actually planning on giving us a much more powerful Nintendo Switch whenever that happens, but we need the online to be a lot better. How about you use the Switch app that you have, that you've been letting us use on our phones, and integrate it into the system UI so that we can have native chat support on the system and not on your cell phone. Because if somebody calls you, or if there's an interruption with your phone, or your phone dies or something, then you can't talk. Like, that's just ridiculous. So, I mean, get with Discord, get with Vivox, get with somebody that understands communication as far as native chat support, because that's one of the main things I feel like basic features is just lacking. You know, and I know that Nintendo is probably looking back at this and be like, wow, like a lot of people really want single player and not multiplayer. And that means our online is trash. And it is trash. I love Nintendo. I want Nintendo to do better, but I mean, it's time out for the foolishness. It's time out for it. And I feel like at the end of the day, the more and more forward that we get into online multiplayer games, there's a lot of multiplayer third-party games that I feel like could have been on Switch, but because the online is just so bad, I feel like a lot of companies is like, nah, we're not gonna put our third-party online game on the Nintendo Switch. You know, because one of the main games a lot of people really do want right now on Switch is Call of Duty. I know a lot of people don't like Call of Duty, but Call of Duty is one of those main games that a lot of people are like, look, man, I want this on Switch already, and it's just not happening. So my whole thing is this. At the end of the day, you have to interact with your fans. You have to interact with the community to see what they want. And Nintendo needs to do this more often. Put more polls out there. Put out some of your community managers out there and ask people, what do they want? I mean, Nintendo, we're spending our money with you guys. I love Nintendo, but I want them to do well. So in order for you guys to have a much more prosperous longevity with your online, it needs to go back to ground zero. It needs to be fixed. It needs to have basic features. I mean, all we asking for, Nintendo, is to be able to talk to our friends online. Okay, we need to be able to private message them and invite them properly to a game, and we need native chat support. I mean, it's just, come on. I don't want to just add, block, delete. It's more to it than that. So I hope that Nintendo is going to give us a major update, a massive update to the online this year, because going into 2020, it's going to be tough, man, because, you know, PlayStation and Xbox Live is just evolving and getting better. And I understand Nintendo learned from their mistakes with the Wii U, with not releasing enough AAA first-party titles. I mean, it was like droughts here and there, and then the online wasn't so great, but they had Miiverse. They had different things for you to communicate. I understand that people was sitting there putting out different crazy messages, profanity and all of that. You can't really stop that. Same thing on PSN. People talk crazy. People try to, you know, say a lot of, you know, disrespectful things and whatnot. But at the end of the day, guys, you have to understand that the trend is where it's at right now. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, the big three. And Nintendo is behind when it comes to power. They're behind when it comes to, you know, the online. They're behind with, you know, just keeping up with the technology of streaming games and things like that. I mean, of course, granted, they might eventually catch up, but Nintendo, pay attention to your fans. Understand what the gamers want. If you're gonna charge for something, it better be good. It better scream value, because there's no value here for your online. It's horrible, and I do believe that there's going to be a massive online update, and watch Nintendo fix this online. It's either they're gonna fix it or they're going to revert it back to being free. Because honestly, for a free system, you know, online, it's not bad. If it's free and you can still play online, it's not bad. But if you're going to charge me for that kind of service, and then you're giving me NES games, what, every 2 or 3 months or what, that's not enough. And you're giving me cloud save, which is not compatible with all your games, that doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? So they need to go back to the drawing board, add more stuff to it, add more value to it, add the basic functionalities to it of communication, and then we can go from there. So what do you guys think about this survey? I mean, obviously single player wins the poll, and multiplayer is just like way down there. And Nintendo really has to get it together. So let me know y'all thoughts in the comment section down below. I mean, this is just ridiculous and it needs to stop. Love you guys so much. Joy-Con boys forever. Take care. Have yourselves, guys, and please have yourself a great night. We're out of here.